you doing? Come and see what I'm up to. Stella, say hello. Yeah, good girl. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm preparing some organic matter, some mulch, to go onto my garden. I've been doing a little bit of research and learning, observing some of the patterns in the garden and realizing some of the mistakes I've been making. And I figure after 2 months of looking after this soil and putting in all this lovely organic matter and really thinking about the nutrients of the soil, the compost and the composition, trying to get the soil really light and fluffy so that my plants can thrive and the roots have space to grow. I realised that I was doing a few mistakes because I was bringing things into my system that weren't part of my system already. So I'm still helping my neighbour sweeping her drive, but I'm not using her leaves in my garden. These are leaves from yesterday's clippings. I trimmed a lot of my ornamental plants, and I just checked that there were no insects on them or bugs or diseases. The last thing I wanted to do is introduce disease at this point. So anything I thought, not sure, I've put in the organic compost, and anything that I think, okay, I like that, I'm going to use here. And I just used a pair of clippers, and I just basically, so good for the stress, just kind of stabbing and chopping. Be careful when you use, maybe you want to use some gloves, or just be looking for gloves. You might want to use some gloves because these are really sharp. So sometimes, you know, watch your fingers, and also don't put anything with sharp thorns in. I did that once, and then I spent the next 2 weeks picking thorns out. That was a mistake. Another thing I learned, sometimes you're going to find bits and bobs tied up in your plants that you chop off when you do your trimming. So you don't want to put those on your mulch. So make sure that your stuff is all safe before you leave it. All right, so these clippings here, they're going to go into my garden. I'm really proud of my garden. Come and have a look what I've done. One of the ethics of permaculture, you see I've been drawing on the walls, just to remind myself about this professional development I'm doing and what I'm learning. One of them is use no or produce no waste and create and think, react responsibly. And another one is use the edges. So look what I did this weekend. I've been gathering and repurposing these lovely bricks, and I'm really using the edges now. These are just ornamental plants. The actual yield producing stuff's in the bed. But these ornamentals here and on the 2 sides, I really like them. And they're bringing in so many pollinators now. So here's me, I'm gonna apply, you can see underneath the mulch how lovely the soil is now. And here's the lovely compost that I put on yesterday. And the reason that I'm putting this mulch on, I wanna make a layer between the sun and the soil, because I want to protect, you know how extreme it is here, right? So much heavy rain, and after all this effort on the soil, I don't want all the nutrients all just leached away and the soil to all run away. And it's so hot too, right? I want to create a layer of temperature control so that my soil doesn't get baked. And I also really, really want to increase the nutrients in the soil. I just want to protect it. I think it looks nice too. And I was doing some reading. It might attract some earthworms, and I want them to till the soil. So I'm paying attention to the edges now. My friend calls me the impatient gardener, which is so true. My food yielding crops, I ate some of them this week. It was so great on the breakfast, my herbs, and that was so satisfying. But now I'm paying attention a little bit, as permaculture principles say, to the edges. And these, what I hope to do with these, fingers crossed, I'm thinking water's going to go in there, and that'll be a really nice water system. And I'm thinking I might, over time, when the garden centre's open again, buy some little flowers and have a little layer of pollinating, enticing colour along the edge, because that's going to help my vegetables and things, isn't it? And it's going to help the planet. Here's another, this is ginseng. It's doing really, really well. I had him inside and I felt sorry for him, so I released him. Here's the pumpkin babies, and they're still going. And what I'm not going to do with this is put this on my food. I'm just using it on my ornamentals. And the reason I'm thinking, maybe it's silly, but I'm thinking that because I've been really weeding and keeping these guys really organic. So I don't want to put anything that might potentially compete with the roots or grow in there. Look, I even potted these to keep the roots separate so they don't compete. Here's my vegetables, look. They're coming along great. Basil's doing really great in the bok choy. These little guys in the middle, this kale, oh, I don't know if they like it. It's taking them a long time, but the papaya's doing well. And okra, wow, that like would survive anything. They're really loving it. And the tomatoes are almost ready to start climbing. And I moved some of the tomatoes over here just to do an experiment for different soil types and sun. Here we are back over here again to the ornamentals. So let's finish up this nicely chopped mulch because I really want to protect that gorgeous soil, increase its productivity, protect from the baking sun and strong rainstorms that we get. Oh, not quite enough. Never mind. Almost there. And I kind of try and do that every couple of weeks when I do a good chop. That's called chop and drop. So I've chopped it from the ornamentals, I've put it back on there. Nice closed system. These guys over here are Rosella. The mint's doing really well. I gave them a big trim the other day and used some of them. Stella the Destroyer got these guys. I plant, she digs. Anyway, they'll come back. And take a look over here. My daughter did this. To walk into nature is to witness 1,000 miracles. I love it. She's really happy. We've got some green bell peppers coming through here. And this is choysum. Need to be spread out soon. I'm looking for some bricks to put this on so that the system underneath, can you see those little holes? It's easier for it to drain. So that's my next repurposing. This is Kailan, coming through really well, needs to be spread out soon. This is golden purslane. I think that's going to be delicious. Microgreens. And the little sad story over here. The bitter gourd's doing really well, trailing her up the side. Oh, the melons. Huge storm, big swimming pool. The melons are suffering. I've trimmed them, I've drained them. Goodness knows what's going to happen. Let's see. I've got my fingers crossed. It's all good. I'm trying to make some trees from trees. Still experimenting. And I'm really proud of this garden. This looked like a little brown patch with a broken trampoline in it 2 months ago. And now I've got butterflies and I've got caterpillars and I've got bees. We come out here and have coffee and the kids come out and help me, and it's really nice. I hope you're well, and I hope that your space is coming together, and I'll see you soon. Bye.